I had to clear my throat, sorry. In accordance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, this channel is not to be viewed by children under the age of 13. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, Giant King Mark here, and welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun Dragonfall. Hong Kong! I keep making that mistake, and I seriously need to fix that. I am so sorry. Welcome back to Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition. Part 12. Last we left off, we, well, went to our mission computer to talk with, to basically go over some new missions and stuff, go over some text and anything we needed. And we also spoke with Gaichu, the newest resident of our team, and also Ractor and Duncan. Sorry about that little bit at the last part, though. At that last, third of the video, I didn't expect it. And it wasn't really all that good. So, since we're in a talking mood, let's go talk to Isabel and COPPA. Isabel is jacked into the octopus. Her body sits inert, her breathing shallow. As you approach, an image blossoms onto the largest of the octopus's view screens. Hello down there. It's good to see you again. She smiles down on you from the monitor, her outline scintillating with blue-white light. She looks peaceful, at ease. Any thoughts about that last run? She shakes her head. Nope, sorry. Jacking into the octopus is how I relax after a long day of work. Some people go to sports bars or strip clubs. I do this. As a rule, I don't spoil my leisure time with shop talk. But we're already talking shop, aren't we? There's a difference between the job and our lives. It's after hours, and I don't want to talk about work. So if you wouldn't mind changing the subject. She lets the sentence hang. Nice avatar. That's a good look on you. Isn't it? I spent months customizing this avatar. She feels more real to me than my own skin. You really feel at home in the Matrix, don't you? You look happy in there. I suppose that I am. It's a comfort thing. As long as I'm jacked in, I can be whoever I want to be. Whatever I want to be. Out there in meat space, I usually feel uncomfortable in my own skin. The avatar offers you a lopsided smile. I'd probably just live in here if I could. I've heard about some deckers who've tried it. It never turned out well. Dehydration is a bad way to go. I know, and of course I was joking. But, truth be told, I do spend most of my time out there wishing that I were back in here. If you were a decker, you'd feel the same. It's hard to live in a cage of meat when you know how sweet it feels to leave your body behind. She pauses for a moment, considering. Then her avatar shimmers forward, filling the screen. A slight frown crosses her face. You know, Sengjan, I've been thinking about the question you asked me a little while back. The one about the walled city? The avatar fidgets. The one that I dodged? Yeah, I remember. Look, I wasn't trying to cheat you out of your answer. I wanted to know that. It's just that talking about the walled city is problematic for me. I understand. I grew up in the Barrens. I know how hard it is to be able to talk about this. No, it isn't that. I'm not explaining myself correctly. It isn't that I'm tortured by my bad memories or anything like that. The problem is I can't remember my childhood. The walled city, that entire chapter of my life, is nothing but a blur to me. I can give you general information about life on the inside, but specifics of my own experiences are gone. Gone? What do you mean gone? Do you have amnesia or something? Something like that. The avatar fidgets on the screen. There were a variety of factors in play. The upshot of all this is that there are things that I could tell you about, but only a few and only in bold strokes. Don't expect any personal stories. I couldn't share them even if I wanted to. So if that's okay with you, if you'll be satisfied with trivia and urban legends, then we can talk. Just say the word. Otherwise, well, at least you know how. At least you know why. How did you lose your childhood memories? The Isabel avatar frowns. I'd rather not go into it. It's personal. Suffice it to say that I never missed them, at least not until now. If you ever want to talk about it, I'm a good listener. She looks away. Great, I'll keep that in mind. Hey viewer, If you're wondering actually why I'm streaming like this early, the Smite match that I was playing ended a bit early than normal. Normally I'd be playing until 10:30, but the one of the players ended up missing, and then we just quit after that. They really need to put in a majority ruling, like versus 2 people. It should be like the 3 be the majority that they quit, that the match will be over that fast, or a mercy rule. They should really implement that. Give me what you can about the walled city. At this point, anything would help. Alright, the avatar licks its lips, nods. I can do that. Isabel's avatar turns, begins to pace on the screen. When she steps, spiderwebs of light spread across the tiled ground of the octopus's sculpted matrix hub. Man, I am really terrible right now with my wording right now. I haven't really been talking that much since I don't spend that much time on the computer that much. But that's another story. When I think of the walled city, the thing that stands out the most in my mind is the legends, the mythology of the place. If I hadn't lived with them, I might have found those stories fascinating. The scintillating figure turns to you on the screen. Did you know that Kulan walled city is supposed to be cursed? That's what the locals believe. We had ghost stories and everything. Ghost stories? Isabel avatar nods. Our own homegrown legends about things that haunted the walled city, demons from another place. The Yama Kings. Yama Kings, derived from the mythological judge of the dead, I presume. Oh yeah, Yama was the judge of the Chinese underworld. That was where they came from, yeah. But the Yama Kings that we told stories about were their own things, bastardizations of the original myths. It'd probably be easiest to think of them like urban legends, our own little pantheon of monsters and morality tales. The stories are still clear in my mind, even after everything that happened. Everyone in the walled city believed them. You can get out of the walled city, but if you make a deal with Fu Mang, cut the hearts from the 44 people closest to you and bring them to him. He will reward you with riches. Don't go under that arch, or Kuan Ya will catch you. The avatar grabs at the air, its hands leaving glowing trails as they move. She'll rip out your teeth, tie your tongue in a knot, and make you her slave for eternity. Teeth? Tongues? Why does that sound familiar? We had Chi He Xiang, our own hometown judge of souls. People will let themselves be flayed alive in hopes that he'd reawaken them in a better life. And then we had Lam Vi, the Ebony Queen, who teach you to hide so well that you'll slowly mutate into a cockroach. The avatar cocks its head, smirking, a dismissive gesture. It was all bullshit, of course, but everybody in the walled city believed it. If everyone believed in these things, maybe they're real. Isabel, she shakes her head. No, they can't be. If they were, the body count in the walled city would be a lot higher. The Yama Kings are just a fiction that my parents and neighbors invented to excuse their own actions. I can't get ahead because demons are keeping me down. Yeah, with the other 2 games, we kind of understand that those creatures exist. I am very sure the Yama Kings also exist too. It's almost embarrassingly transparent when you really look at it. Lam V turning people into cockroaches, it's just a Kafkaesque trope layered into morality tale. Chi Xiang, he's just a Anubis with a different coat of paint. And you know that archway that I mentioned? The one that Qian Ya was supposed to haunt? I know someone who found it. There was nothing on the other side but concrete. It's all superstitious dribble, Xingshan. The misery of the walled city isn't the fault of demons or devils. We created it and perpetuate it. We blame made-up monsters for our own failings. There's nothing more pathetic than that. It sounds less like you're trying to convince me than it does like you're trying to convince yourself. I don't need you to convince me of anything. I'm telling you this for your benefit, not mine. Anyway, that's enough for now, huh? I'm sure that gives you plenty to chew on. My obligation will give you an answer to be satisfied, I think. So let's talk about something else. Can you think of anything else that might help at all? that might help us? I don't know, maybe. I'll put some thought into it. The avatar pauses, turns away. After a moment, Isabel's voice pours through the Tridio's speakers. On second thought, maybe I do have an idea. Are you open to taking on more work? Of course. County sending me new jobs offers all the time. This wouldn't be working for Auntie Chang. Think of it as a side gig that you'd be doing for me. I think I've got a line on some software that could help us. I couldn't get it on my own, though. It's a two-person job at least. What kind of software? It's kind of hard to explain. It'd be easier for me to just show you, but trust me, it'll help. I have to run our plans out already. I've done the legwork. I know the location, I know the target. Just say the word and I'll send everything I have to your mission computer. You can look it over, weigh it, and decide what you want to do. Alright, deal. Send me the file. The Isabel avatar closes his eyes for a moment, then opens them with a smile. Done. You'll find the pertinent documents waiting in your inbox. If you decide to accept the mission, just check in the box in the message documentation and it'll ping my comlink automatically. Alright, can't wait to find out what this is all about. I'm sure that the briefing I sent you will satisfy your curiosity. Trust me, Sing-Shan, this is a good job with a solid plan behind it. You'll see as soon as you've read it. And speaking of which, you should go do that now. See you tomorrow, go check it out. The avatar beams at you. Fantastic! I can't wait to hear what you think. We already got Isabel's loyalty mission active. We had to wait like maybe 2 runs to do that in the last game. Okay, Gobbet, let's talk. Gobbet looks up from a dented tin of oysters at the sound of your approach. Her rats, Madison Folly, scurry from her hips up to her shoulders. 2 sets of beady red eyes fix themselves on you. Hey, Seattle, oyster? She spears a gray clump of seafood with a fingernail, extended to you. Smells like low tide at a municipal pier. Sure, why not? You pop the rubbery wad of flesh into your mouth and chew. An explosion of lukewarm brine is your reward. Good, right? Half-repressed memories of dumpster diving in the Barrens dance a merry jig in your brain as the mangled oyster slides down your throat. Even worse. Exactly right. It may not be fine dining, but it's seafood and it isn't made of soy. That makes it good in my book. I had oyster once, never again. I prefer lobster and shrimp. Maybe some crab meat. My God, there's a place nearby called the Golden Dragon that is Chinese American, I think. It's a shop that sells Chinese food, and I always usually buy well, I used to get crab meat fried rice, but now I'm mostly getting chicken and shrimp. Minus the vegetables, of course. Just pop in the extra shrimp and chicken. She tilts back the tin, drains the remaining juice, and then flicks it into the overflowing bin at her side. So what can I do for you? Any thoughts on the last run? I don't get the Wampoans. I really don't. Isabel is about as close as I usually get to their particular flavor of crazy. You'd think with all that technology and backup, they'd have been smart enough to not stiff a red samurai on payment, much less a ghoul. I don't know, for smart people, they seem pretty damn dumb to me. I think we pulled off a damn miracle back there. Not only I apologize, my controller just disconnected. I don't know what just happened. Not a lot of jobs do go that right. I'm feeling better and better about having you in charge, Seattle. So, what else do you want to talk about? How do you like life here on the bolt hole? It's fine. Shaping up. Having new roomies is always nice. She smiles. How are you enjoying your cabin? Comfortable enough for you? It isn't half bad. Better than some of the places I squatted in back in the Barrens. I've heard stories about the Redmond Barrens. Sounds like a real winner of a place. Kulon isn't any better, of course, but at least our little slice of home is safe. That's true. It's handy having a mob boss on our side. Yeah, handy. Auntie Chang is definitely that. She half frowns. Don't know if I'd say that she's on our side, though. Yeah, I know what you mean. Of course you do. Let's change the subject, huh? I'd rather not think about the old woman right now. You know, the boat hole is a pretty mediocre name for a ship. Ever considered changing it? Yeah, sure. Considered it a bunch of times. I never really cared enough to actually do it, though. He shrugs. You wanna call her something else? I'm open to it. Hmm. We can call it the boat hole, or we can call it something else. I want a strong name. How about the Defiance? Aye, aye, Cam, the Defiance it is, she nods thoughtfully. Yeah. Yeah, that's really not bad. I think that the others will be happy about with it. Okay, so that option basically you can ask God to change the name of the boat hole. I prefer Defiance myself, mostly because I played Pillars 2 and I literally kept that name for all of my ships I collected. My last ship I had was the Galleon, and I had that called the Defiant. That boy got me through some tough times. You said that you teach me how to be a better Shadowrunner. I'm here to collect. Still remember that, do you? Huh? I'm just sort of assumed that you'd laugh that off. No dice, wizened mentor. You offered, now pay up. She strains. Okay, how about this? I'll tell you a story about a run gone bad. You tell me what you would have done in the runner's place, and then we'll compare notes on your answer. How's that sound? Works for me, I guess. She sweeps a tangled rope of hair out of her eyes and back over one pointed ear. After a moment of silent contemplation, she bites her lip and nods. Okay, so this is a story from early in my career. I was part of a team here in HK, but I did some occasional moonlighting for another group based in Macau. Based out of Macau. I was a busy kid. Go on. The job was here on this tower. Sort of a trid multiplex slash apartment complex. I'm sure they've got them in Seattle too. You know the kind. 7 huge screens, monster concession stand, coffin apartments on top like barnacles on a whale. I lived in one for a while. Every time they showed an action movie, the walls would shake. She nods. Yeah, that'll happen. Our client wanted us to break into one of the apartments. The story was that an ex of hers, a guy named Boggs, lived there. She'd been cooped up with him until about a week prior, and then things went sour in a big way. She wanted us to get back some things that Boggs kept when he kicked her out. Scared the shit out of him, bloody him up a bit, make it look like a robbery, you know the drill. And I pulled a few jokes like that myself when I lived in the Barrens. It was a pretty decent Bush League gig, but the pay was decent enough. Not the sort of thing you turn down. So anyway, Simbalance, that was our group leader, had a plan. We knew that we had to go in quiet because the Metroplex had a panic system wired directly to the HKPF. If we'd gone shooting, we'd be drowning in cops within 10 minutes. Sib thought that we could maybe take advantage of the apartment's terrible soundproofing and kick in Briggs' door when the movie got loud. We camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling to start raining plaster, then smash our way in with his neighbors none the wiser. This sounds kind of familiar. Yeah, pretty close to what John Wilkes Booth did when he assassinated Lincoln. Sib was an amateur historian, used to bore the rest of us to tears, but I guess that could be occasionally come in handy. Oh yeah, that's how John Wilkes Booth took out Lincoln. He basically killed him in that theater, while everyone else was distracted. Solid plan. So we waited in the hall just like Sibilance planned. We had a guy in the elevator and another at the stairs. I was waiting by the floor's communal kitchen. Sib took up a position by the door. She had the cyber leg that she dumped a ton of neon into, hydraulic jacks, strength enhancements, the works. Girl could probably leg press a dump truck. She pauses for a moment. Got to think that most of her plans involve kicking things. There's something sad about that. And this woman was the best suited to lead this particular group of runners. Tragically, yes, everyone else was various shades of immoral or screwed in the head. Sibilance might have had a tendency to solve all of her problems the same way, but she was better than the alternatives. Anyway, we heard a boom from downstairs and felt the walls shake from within the reverb. Sib wheeled back and gave the door a massive kick, just as she planned. From where I was standing, I couldn't really see what had happened next. I could hear a massive crack as her boot slammed into the duroplast. The door flew off its hinges. Exploded off might be a more accurate phrase. A second later, we heard an ungodly crash. There was a moment of silence, and Sib let out this little gasp. The apartment was in shambles. It looked like a hurricane had hit it. Everything was trashed. Everything but the floor, which was miraculously still in one piece. Remember that this was a coffin apartment. It wasn't much wider than the door was to begin with. And Boggs, well, what was left of him was under the door too. Well, you got the rough him up part right. Yeah. Unfortunately, he wound up a lot rougher than he was supposed to be. Her nose crinkles in discomfort. That door really did a number on him. Ribs sticking out of the skin, that kind of thing. It was a bloody mess. Oh god, I think she killed him. So yeah, Boggs was dead. The stuff that we'd been sent into the apartment to recover had been smashed to bits. And then the building alarm went off. So that's the situation. Our payday is smashed. My temporary teammates are all standing around with stupid looks on their faces. The cops are coming, and I'm standing by the kitchen. She plants her hands on her hips, smiling. What would you have done in my place? I have tried to improvise. Was there anything in the kitchen that you could use to resolve the situation? Good thinking. As it happens, there was, and I knew just what to do with it. The thought popped in my head and I just went with it. She taps her temple with a smile. That's a lesson to remember, Seattle. The first answer that you come up with is almost always the best one you're going to have. So just roll with it. Don't second guess yourself and don't hesitate, just act. You'll live longer that way. Got it. Now, when I think crowded theater, I think place where you can't shout fire because it'll cause a panic. And then I thought, cops don't charge into burning buildings. They help people to get out of them. And as it happens, I have the means to create real, genuine fire sitting across me. A pair of industrial ovens. You set the building on fire? I encouraged it to burn. Opened the gas vents wide, set the range on a timer, and motored back into the hallway. The others had started arguing amongst themselves. I told them to snap out of it and follow me down into the lobby. We had to clear the hallway before an errant spark took the whole floor out. Unfortunately, the rest of the group wouldn't listen. Sib and the rest of the team were too busy arguing about the relative merits of her let's kick things really hard and see what happens tactical system to want anything to do with me. I shouted back to them that the kitchen was going to explode and continued down the hallway. Just like I planned, I got out of that run in one piece. So did every single one of the people in that multiplex. My fire plan worked beautifully. If the rest of the team had listened to me, they might have gone out of the building too. Kind of a bummer that they didn't, but at least the run turned out well for me. How? Well, I couldn't collect any pay because the run had been a disaster, but after the explosion, I got to ride in the front of the fire truck. They gave me cookies and a blanket. I wound up dating one of those firemen a few weeks later. All things considered, it could have gone a lot worse. Oh my god, Gavit, you chaotic little nut. Gavit claps her hands together and rubs them, a satisfied look on her face. So, Seattle, the laughter disappears from her face. Her expression goes serious. It's like somebody flipped a switch. Suddenly, the look in her eyes is shrewd, calculating. Tell me, what was the moral of this story? What lesson was I trying to convey? Go with your gut, I guess? She nods sagely. That's right. Trust your impulses and don't be afraid to wing it. Almost any action is better than no action at all. Once you've committed to doing something, you gotta follow it through. Though, no arguing or hand-wrangling, just do it. If you get caught up in your own head, agonizing over past mistakes, well, don't be surprised if you wind up dead. A kitchen fire can take you down as easily as a cop's bullet if you stand around and let it. Are you certain that Sibilance and the rest of the Macau team are dead? She shrugs. They weren't with me when I got evacuated with the rest of the moviegoers. Never saw them leaving the building, and I haven't heard from them since. I guess it's possible that somebody made it, but I don't really run in those circles anymore. Odds are good that if anybody from the Macau team did survive, They have died off by now from sheer incompetence. Shadowrun is an unforgiving business. You don't get to make too many mistakes. Did any of that stuff of the stuff in that story actually happen, or did you just make it up for my benefit? Seattle, I'm hurt. It all went down exactly like I said it did. She pauses. Well, except for a couple of embellishments here and there, but they make for a better story. Artistic license and all that. Gobbet leans back and stifles a yawn. Madness and Folly dart up to her left shoulder and lock their beady eyes on you. Hate to break it to you, kid, but I'm beat. It's been a long day. Plus, it's over for now. We'll pick it up back up next time. Alright, Gobbet. I'll catch you next time. Yeah, sounds good. I'll have your next lesson ready and waiting too. She makes a brushing motion with her fingers. Scurry along now. Your mentor needs rest. Well, that was all a matter of something. A bunk. Optional, get some rest. You wake with a start, your limbs bound up in a sweaty tangle of linen bedsheets. An incredible sorrow swells in your chest. You feel empty, half-starved and alone. Fragmentary memories of a half-remembered dream fill through your mind. They're already fading away to nothing. Chase the memories. You close your eyes and concentrate, willing yourself to keep the dream from slipping away. Gradually, the memory comes back to you. The walled city. You were back in the walled city. You don't remember how you got there, but it couldn't have been any place else. Even the barrens weren't so squalid. You remember craning your neck to look above you. The buildings that made up this part of the walled city were new construction, even cheaper than the old. Now their foundations have run out from under them, and the buildings lean into one another like a gang of drunken men. A rain of plaster and asbestos sprinkled down, dusting your shoulders. You begin to creep forward, picking your way past the piles of refuse and debris, past the pimps and the dumpster fires, the broken glass and the dirty needles. The air reeked of rot and sewage and industrial waste, a disgusting melange that caught in your sinuses and crawled down your throat. You gagged on the stink, but it didn't slow you down. In the back of your mind, you knew that you had no reason to be doing this. There was nothing for you in the walled city. You shouldn't have been there. But the rest of you was hungry, unbearably, indescribably hungry. And that part of you knew that if you kept moving, you could finally get to eat. As you forced your way deeper into the walled city, locals stood at their windows and stared. Inexplicably, some of them dropped to their knees. You kept moving. You could see something in the distance, a silhouette. Something enormous, at least twice the size of a troll, but delicate. It was beautiful. The huge figure beckoned you, gesturing with a slender limb. An explosion of warmth filled your chest, and you knew that if you only could reach it, your problems would be over. She, would make all your sorrows disappear. You moved forward at a crawl, but the figure felt impossibly far away. You reached out, calling to her, and then you woke up. The empty feeling in your stomach slowly fades, taking the strength and vibrance from the memories along with it. Okay, so we had another nightmare. A woman? Duncan? I'm gonna exercise a bit, Shen. Helps me clear my head. Come back later and we'll talk. So looks like we didn't have another. Looks like we can't talk to anybody. Let's go to that Emish computer. Job offer for Isabel. A recording of Isabel pops into the screen. She stares into the camera, her eyes full of intensity. If you're watching this, you've decided to. You decided to listen to my job offer. That's a good thing. I wasn't convinced that you would. Our target is a local Decker, a former opponent of the Matrix. His handle is Rhombus. He has the software that we need. Unfortunately, he's unassailable from the Matrix, and nobody knows where he lives in the meat space. But I know where he's going to be. There's an event coming up that Rhombus can't afford to miss. He might already be on his way there. As you're reading this message, Deckers from all over Asia, White Hat and Black Hat alike, are converging in the Harbor Spires Hotel. This year, Harbor Spires is hosting DECCON, Hong Kong's largest annual decking convention. Oh god. It's basically Comic-Con for Deckers. Rhombus is going to be there, and that gives us an opportunity. We're going to hit the convention, find him in meat space, and get the software away from him. And we're going to do it quietly. Enclosed you will find a copy of the plan that I've worked out for the run, presented in bulletproof format. Everything should be fairly straightforward. Isabel's image winks off the screen, replaced by a blinking cursor. As you watch, the screen begins to fill with lines of simple instructions. I'll provide you and one other runner of your choice with visitor passes for the convention. I will proceed ahead of you using my own guest badge. I will hide in the women's lavatory on the first floor. You will enter via the kitchen and procure me a uniform for the catering staff. Please be sure that the uniform is a size 4. We will rendezvous. I will change into the uniform, and using it, I will infiltrate the administrative wing on the 6th floor. We will proceed into the convention hall on the way further instructions. Using the admin computer, I will identify Rhombus via his guest registration form. Once I have done this, I will alert you via comlink. I will upgrade your badge to VIP status, granting access to the VIP wing of the hotel. You will tell Rhombus that he has been granted VIP status and offer to escort him to a complimentary hotel room. You will escort him to a room that I designate to hold him there. I will jack out of the Matrix and make my way from the admin wing to your room. We will intimidate Rhombus / beat the tar out of him until he gives us the software. We will tie and gag Rhombus and stuff him into a storage closet. We will not be gentle. It's okay if he starts crying. Actually, please prioritize this. I want to see tears. Software in tow, we will make our escape. Going text fades and Isabel winks back onto the screen. See? It's a simple plan, just like I said. We should be able to get through it without firing a shot. So will you do it? Will you help me get the software I need? We'll take it. Pre-recorded footage of Isabel winks off on the screen. A real-time feed for Matrix avatar replaces it. Excellent. I knew that I could count on you. Saddle up, Sean. This is going to be fun. I have a bad feeling about this. Okay. We gotta go talk to some people now. Sailor. 3 people, possibly locals, are busily hunched over, avidly discussing something beneath their breath. From the looks of them, they appear to be sailors. Rough-hewn clothes, stained by salt, leathery skin, and an acute awareness of being on land. Watch their feet shuffle awkwardly on the docks. The whispers are just within earshot. Nah, I saw Crafty and she said the same. Them dreams is bad. Think we'll lose them at sea? We're supposed to set out soon to make that delivery. What if they follow us? You see the man shudder. Don't think so. Crafty said these things are just affecting her here right now. The first sailor points to the ground. As soon as we sail, the dreams will stop. Hey! The third sailor sees you and taps her friends on the arms. They shoot upright. One examines her fingernails, another coughs loudly and begins to hum, and the last pretends she didn't see you. But they sense your continued stare. The third speaks up. What are you looking at, Landy? There was a boat here with a merchant selling goods not too long ago. He leave? The 3 sailors' suspicion turns into smirks. One snickers to herself. Merchant, he says. That crook didn't do so much as leave, as he was chased off by Kindly. No sales permit, not a big loss though. The local shops have way better stuff than the small-town hustler. Why don't you look around? You find the shop owners here more friendly toward you now that you've gotten the okay from Kindly. Thanks for the tip. They all exchange a look. The first sailor responds. Right. Stay careful around these parts. I overheard you talking about the dreams. I've had them too. You feel uneasiness pass through the sailors. Seems anyone who comes by these parts is having them. As soon as they leave, the dreams stop. Right eerie it is. Any leads on why they're happening? We don't know much ourselves. We only just returned from our last delivery, but the dreams ambushed us fast enough. Hey, what about that Crafty? Sailor turns to you. She runs the 5 Faces. Smart girl. Might know a thing or two about this blight. You ask her and she might have something more to say. Didn't mean to interrupt. See you around. The brooding tide of whispers resumes as your back turns to the sailors. Well, they did say talk to Crafty. Let's go talk to Crafty. We already spoke to her, and we do need to ask about that stuff that she knows about her research. Crafty. Hey there. Still don't know anything about the dreams, I'm afraid. I'm working on it, though. In the meantime, if you want to buy something, I can hook you up. Let me see your wares. Life Siphon? Okay, since we already talked to I think Crafty once we actually got access to her shop, we don't really need to speak with her now. But I definitely recommend you guys speak with her after. Sup, Jin? Why, if it isn't the young one from before? Jin glances up at you, then returns to the game. Bah, could you see we're busy? Shiyu shakes his head at his friend. You never mind him. Is there anything else you need? Thanks. Good luck with your game. Appreciate it, young man. I'll be seeing you. Reliable Matthews trailer. The side of Matthews' trailer looks freshly scrubbed. It reeks of kerosene. Broad swaths of the flaking paint have been removed, revealing the brittle plastic siding, discolored by years of acid rain. You can still see the faded black traces of erased graffiti. It reads Job Stealer. Something thumps inside the trailer. You could easily peer into one of the windows. Let's take a look. Inside are dingy, cramped living quarters, cluttered with broken drones and unwashed dishes. It looks like a rumpled, motley colored shag carpet is heaped over about half the tiny space, obscuring most of the furniture. After a moment, the shag carpet moves. It raises about a foot, surges slightly toward the window, then it stops, pulsing and fidgeting. So see clearly through the built-up grime on the window. Let's wipe it. The carpet is actually plush-covered drones. With teddy bears, raccoons, little dolls. Must be 2 dozen inside the caravan, all companionship models. They're all looking at you, as if they realize you're not a Matthew. They watch fidgeting. Then one in coordinated motion, they all lie down and go dormant again. I don't even want to know what the hell that was about. Reliable Matthew greets you with an expansive grin, sweeping his arms wide. Sang-Jean, beautiful! To what do I owe this unexpected pleasure? Why, you're not here for some robotics, are you? Oh, shucks! He rolls his shoulders ostentatiously and sticks his cigarro casually between his teeth. His eyes have a strained, bloodshot look to them. Looks like someone vandalized your trailer. Ah, what? You mean the paint? That's just some neighborhood kids, good kids, having a lark. Nearly fell over laughing when I saw it this morning. How do people in Heoi feel about drones? How do people feel about drones? Why, they love them. Just about every household that can afford drones has drones. Sure you don't want to try out this little UC2 tarantula? It's a great entry-level personal assistant. Reliable Matthew smiles wildly, but the edges of his mouth twitch uncontrollably. Drones free people to take skilled jobs. They make the economy more efficient. And drones give poor people services they couldn't ever afford otherwise. Why did someone call you a job stealer? No idea. Drones are job makers. He waggles his cigarillo at you. I know what you're thinking, Saint-Jean. I think of myself. Drones take jobs. Well, medicine takes jobs from undertakers, and sewer drones take jobs from people who used to crawl through filth to feed their families. He holds his hand somberly over his heart and his voice deepens. When you see a drone messenger or maid, it's easy to think, they used to be a person. Could be. But that person could do another job now, and they can have a drone themselves. Everyone is better off. Why? Matthew's voice rises. His smile wrinkles painfully around the edges that he carries on enthusiastically. The same people who call drone dealers job stealers often themselves come to me for it. Matthew suddenly shuts up. His smile gets even more waxy. Hey, let's not get all wound up about this stuff. It's too cheery a day for running off in our heads. What exactly were the drones you sell for used? Just about everything. They're helpers to metahumans in all sorts of useful ways. Drones cook, clean, carry messages, lift heavy loads, tend to delicate tasks. But drones can even take care of for the infirm and provide companionship for children. Matthew taps his temple with his finger meaningfully. Think about it, beautiful. All the boring, dangerous, painful jobs that people used to do, the jobs that drones do now. He glances around at Heoi, and up at the walled city looming above. Despite his bright and gleaming smile, his voice sounds almost thoughtful. Because of mechanization, we don't force workers to breathe as many chemicals in the refineries. You don't make teenage girls pick silk cocoons out of the boiling water. Not anymore. Drones help us. He shakes off his passing air of seriousness, clamps his cigarillo in his teeth, thrusts his hands in his pockets. They're really something else, ain't they? Mmm. Wow, Singjan, just smell that brisk spring air. He inhales deeply through his nose, drawing in the fetid reek of the polluted river and the sun heat of the monsoon season. This topic is fascinating, really fascinating, but I've got to get back to work. Shall we walk the lot? I noticed you have a lot of drones in your trailer. But Matthew smells serenial at you. Drones in the trailer? Oh, I think I may have a couple in there. Probably ones I'm fixing. Looks like a full playpen to me. Matthew shrugs uncomfortably. Funny thing about drones, when you see when you see a few, they always look like so many more. Weirdest thing, strangest little fellas. Let's talk about maintenance. It's boring. I bet there's something you need today. Incredible bargains, huh? They fall off the back of a truck. Are you implying that they're stolen? If so, you're mistaken. He smiles indulgently, as if you just said something in the alien language. His merchandise is provided only by trusted suppliers who certify the authenticity and workability of their goods. I don't furnish manufacturer certificates, but all the providers are really top shelf guys. Really beautiful people. Otherwise, I wouldn't carry their drones. Sounds good to me. Alright. Where do these trusted suppliers get them? Where do fonts, prawns, and soy chips come from? Or Lucy's lovely textiles? Or the electricity for the lights? Reliable Matthew sweeps his arm expansively at the heavens, trailing a stream of blue cigar smoke. Where did we get this glorious bluebird sky? Matthew takes a big breath, staring rapturously at the gray clouds. He looks back down at you. His expression goes flat. He shrugs limply and then speaks in monotone for a moment. The smugglers and fences, I don't know where they get their drones. Did these suppliers certify the untraceability of their goods? Absolutely. He probably taps the Ad Technology logo emblazoned on the housework model beside him. Most of them are general knockoffs. Any ideas are stripped, but most were never registered in the first place. Can I be a supplier if I have a spare drone? Well, it's a very exclusive process. You need to be a member of the community in good standing, have good references, and pass a background check. He smiles wildly. His eyes seem to twitch over at you, nervously at you. Or if all you have is a drone, I can work with you. I think I understand the situation. Fantastic. I'd like to make sure all customers are thoroughly informed and feel completely comfortable with their purchases. Goodbye, Matthew. I just had to go ahead and do a little bit more talking. Okay, now let's go see about Handsome Lee. It's muggy out, even for Heoi monsoon season. You pause to mop your brow. Suddenly you feel eyes upon you. As you glance up, you meet the tranquil, searching gaze of a man half hidden in the shadows. He's wearing a crisp, white tailored shirt, shirtless shirt sleeves neatly rolled, with a dark gray silk tie and smart black trousers. If he's sweating, you don't see it. The man tilts his head over ever so slightly in greeting. Newcomer, welcome! He flashes you a brilliant smile, eyes glinting with amusement. You can just barely detect a faint trace of an accent in his voice. Handsome Lee is the name, purveyor of enhanced sensory experiences. You can see that you've got some tales to tell. You're not from around here, are you? His smile flickers briefly. He's got a decent poker face, but you can tell that he's rattled. And, why do you ask? You still got an accent, Lee. It's barely there, but I can hear it. Ah, he fidgets uncomfortably. You're right, I'm not from Heoi. Where are you from, then? I was born in Taiwan. I was forced to flee during the Nationalist War. I hear you have a slight accent as well. Seattle? Emphasis on the slight. The corners of his lips curl smugly. It's your move, apparently. Good guess. Redmond Barons. Handsome Lee suddenly fixes you with his gaze, sizing you up. His face is impassable. Nasty place. Where exactly did you grow up, then? Taipei. But I'd rather not go into it at the moment, and I'm sure you got some more important things to listen to my life story. Let's discuss business, eh? I am a businessman, after all. So how about it, friend? He opens his jacket, revealing a myriad of small, bulging pockets swooned into interior lining. Can I show you my wares? I ran into someone with a message for you. Handsome Lee beckons you closer with a languid gesture. I think I can guess. Stephen Dynamite? He coolly raises an eyebrow at you. How'd you know? It was about time for him to contact me. I know his cycles very well. He gives you a knowing nod. He's one of my most loyal customers. Not for long, Lee. The latest batch that you sold him sent him on a really bad trip. He pauses thoughtfully. Interesting. And what does he want from me? What do you think? He wants his Nuyen back. He strains abruptly from his elegant slouch and juts his chin out. There was absolutely nothing wrong with my latest creation. It was painstakingly designed to elevate the senses and stimulate the spirit. A smooth high that I have indulged in myself. Now, if the unfortunate Stephen happened to dilute my masterpiece with another lesser substances, I can hardly be held responsible. His tone of finality is unmistakable. You can use all the flowery language you want. I'm not leaving here empty-handed. He stares at you for a long moment, then reaches into his breast pocket. With a deft motion, he pulls out a small packet and presents it to you. There is no money, not anymore. I have expenses, just as I'm sure you do. But here, give this to Stephen with my regards. What's in the package? A freebie. It's what our deal Stephen Dynamite really wants, whether he'll admit it or not. Deliver it with my compliments. And this freebie of yours, is it supposed to cure his nightmares? The dealer regards you steadfastly. Of course not, but it will bring you relief. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what Stephen is itching for right now, about now, correct? Relief is the exact word that he used. The dealer nods sagely. I told you that I know Stephen very well to guess that when he'll be desperate for another hit. So, is his addiction the entire problem? Is that why he's suffering so much? He shakes his head slowly. No, I'm just not surprised to hear from him now, because it was time. But I can't explain these unusual dreams he's having. Anyway, he holds the packet out towards you and gives you a shake. Take this to him. Give it to him. It should help him, at least in the short term. Take the drugs. Alright, Lee. I'll take it to him. Very good. Please let me know how it goes when you're done. Bliss. You gotta go talk to Stephen now. Hey, Law. No, we don't got metadata. There he is. Stephen Dynamite lolls on the sidewalk. While he jerks less as he moves, his skin has taken on a gray hue and his chest heaves with each labored breath. His sunken eyes swivel towards you. He wets his parched lips and addresses you. Hello, I'm relieved to see you. Thought you might not return. Can't trust anyone. This is a bad place. Hey, Steve. I hate to say it, but you're not looking so hot. Fat tears begin to cascade down his dirty, ruined face. I don't want to sleep because of these nightmares. I'm ravenous, so ravenous, but food makes me ill. I've got the shakes real bad. Just want this to end. The junkie slumps in place, furrowing his brow, his response with difficulty. Anyway, thanks for taking to that bastard from me. So you got my money? We didn't have our money. He gave me this to pass off to you instead. The junkie's eyes light up at the sight of the packet from Lee. Oh, just to warn you, it's the exact same. Maybe kicking the handle would be a better idea. It's practically ruined you, man. The man chuckles softly. It's purely circumstantial that I picked the drugs as my escape. I just seek out their dependency. So I might as well take Lee's free hit. Packet, please. That's bull. But you need to want to quit for yourself. The man joins his palms in beseeching manner. I promise I'll start cutting back. Starting tomorrow, really. The junkie's trembling hand shoots out. His fingers curling. His curling and uncurling. Sorry, Steve. I've decided to keep the drugs for myself. The junkie narrows his eyes at you. His escapes his parched lips. Why would I let you do that? That's Lee's gift to me. Because another dose of poison might have you dreaming forever. Because it isn't a gift. It's a trick to keep you hooked. The man snorts and lifts his chin high. This is not a trick. I know exactly what Lee's offering. I'm not stupid. Could have fooled me. If you're thinking about taking it, you are stupid. A wild look flickers into Steven's eyes. He bares his teeth and snarls. You just want to keep it for yourself. Can't trust anybody here. Give me my present. The junkie grabs your arm, ready to snatch the packet from your grasp. It's your funeral. He eagerly snatches the packet of bliss from your hand, his eyes lighting up with excitement. Before you take that, I want to ask you about the dreams. He looks up at you, suddenly suspicious. You want to ask about my dreams? Why? Because I'm having bad dreams too. Maybe we can get to the bottom of them together. He stares up at you in the eye, and his voice drops into a sharp whisper. These aren't like ordinary dreams. They're visions. They're so real. I've put all kinds of substances in my body, and I've never experienced anything like this. You were practically raving the last time we talked. Explain your dreams to me again clearly this time. He nods, though his tongue stumbles and stalls as he speaks. I'm walking through a series of dark, narrow halls. It stinks to high heaven, and I run into more and more people as I move forward. The people are jostling me, but I'm starving, like I haven't eaten for days. I just want some food, so I press on. I start seeing children in the crowd. Children with terrible burns, disfigured faces, all these people grabbing at me. Ew. He begins to tremble from head to foot, and his eyes bulge. Then I see teeth all around me. I feel the teeth on me. Bathed in sweat from the effort of speaking, he cradles his head in his arms. Okay, Steve. Let's talk about the drugs. You said that you're on a lot of them? You must know that the drugs are making these nightmares worse, right? So why are you taking so many of them? The junkie gives a weary smile. Because I need them. I used to get my kicks from explosives. I loved blowing stuff up, seeing glass splinter, walls, solid walls disintegrating, flames like in the sky. Not anymore. Now I stick to needles and pills. Were you a Shadowrunner? No, not so much. I was a bomb maker. I designed custom ordnance. It was a dream job, plus it was very lucrative. He rubs his thumb and forefinger together and snaps. Megacorps couldn't get enough of my devices I invented. I was too high on my own ego to wonder what they were up to. What were the Megacorps doing then? They were fueling wars. They often managed to sell to both sides in conflicts all over the world. Casualties be damned. So by selling them, there's blood on your hands? Junkie's already a sickly parlor transaction. It's not even as simple as that. The man balls his hands into fists on his lap. I thought my bombs were used in wars against militias, mercenaries, and armies, and I didn't think of them as people. But the weapons I developed were used against civilian targets. The man starts digging his rough fingernails into his palms so hard that tiny crescents of blood stain his palms. I'm from Gyuzo. Sichuan had taken over much of the province, but pockets of resistance remained. These were big political struggles, actions removed from the lives of ordinary people. Yet the village where I grew up in Guizhou was annihilated. These were tobacco farmers, winemakers, peasants, not military. Tears leak from the man's eyes, tracing narrow lines down his filthy cheeks. I recognized the distinctive patterns, the traces that were left behind. These were my bombs, used to shatter the landscape of my childhood. When your village was bombed, did you lose anyone you knew? He meets your gaze with red-rimmed eyes, throws his arms wide. I knew them all, from the frailest elders to the littlest children. My whole family died too. We weren't always close. Pyromaniac inventors don't fit well with agricultural backwaters. But they were my only kin. Why would Sichuan bother to bomb a village? To break the spirit of the people. It broke my mind. The junkie shoulders heave and shake, and he passes a hand over his face. Now I just want to forget. The drugs help sometimes. Okay, Steve, I think I'm getting what's going on here. I guess that I must feel guilty about the bombs, huh? All the blood on my hands, I can feel it all the time. I just like bombs. I didn't want anyone to get hurt. He clenches his face, sobbing. How am I ever going to make this go away? How will I live with myself? The jokes help me forget, but... He shakes his head, a look of utter hopelessness on his face. Well, you could start by helping some kids, or stealing your bomb schematics back. Helping kids? Stealing my... Draculus slays mutely in place, gnawing on his chapped lower lip. I wouldn't know where to begin, even to think. Children of the future, man. Find a charitable organization and put in some hours, for starters. The man lowers himself into a squat and hugs his knees, his gaze somewhat absent and his cheeks glazed with tears. There are a couple of shelters where I used to crash when I was less down and out than I am now. There were lots of families I could help out. The man pauses, licking his lips, his mouth feeling for the right words. In the end, I probably need to go home to Gyuzo, where I can bring myself to... I'll tell you what, I'll think about it. He nods eagerly. I'll think really hard. Thinking about it isn't going to be enough. You need to do something. Yeah, I will. His face lights up with something you hadn't seen there before. Determination. I will. I promise. I really hope this guy makes it. I'm rooting for him. Thank you for your help. I'll think about what you said. I really hope this guy makes it. The young troll bouncer manning the door is in the midst of patting down a prospective patron with enough force to dislocate a shoulder or hip, while other shitty-looking patrons walk idly past him into the club. He waves the shaken man aside, propelling him forward with a final pat on the back. People don't realize that you gotta check for internal weapons as well as external ones. You can't possibly... And you know how to do that? I've got it down to a science. You just need the right technique. Matter of fact, I caught a guy just last week with a phosphorus grenade in his leg compartment. What did you do? Disarmed him, of course. Got it back behind the bar now. I'm gonna go blow it off in the river. Impress some girls. You looking for a pat down yourself? No, just information. Doubt I can help you much there, but I'll try. I'll leave you be, though. Let me see if I can... Yeah, we can talk with him later. Okay. So, I think it would be a good idea to end the stream for right now, because it is a long stream, and I just realized I think I've done an hour. But, I did good. We just helped out Steven Dynamite over here, help turn his life around. And we did more talking with some friends. I'm Dragon King Mark, and next time on Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong, Hong Kong, we're gonna go ahead and talk with the family at Club 88. Maybe go talk to Kylie Chang about that job opportunity we have over there. Maybe talk to Ambrose, and we'll see where it goes from there. If you like what you guys saw, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified, and I'll see you guys next time. Laters. Really hope this stream